Hey guys. It's quite literally right. Hi Kuro. How are you? You literally just look different. You're quite simply just better than the rest. Well, hi. How was your weekend? I'm good. It's good to hear. Oh my gosh. Did you prepare anything for tomorrow? Do you know what tomorrow is? I hope you know what tomorrow is. Before I forget, yes. Oh my gosh, a lot of things. That's so exciting. Oh my gosh, it's great to hear. I can't wait to see what all the couples do on TikTok and stuff like that. It's gonna be so cute. Can I have a sneak peek of what you're doing for wifey? Are you gonna you should take her out? Unless it gets raining. Before I forget, it is Monday, July the 30th. School is gonna start in like a month. I'm gonna cry. I will. That's so exciting. I hope you guys have a fun time out. You little youngings enjoy your little day together. And that it goes great. You're gonna go to a fancy restaurant. A fancy restaurant? Goddamn. Oh my god, all the stuff. What type of food is it? I think it's expensive. Yes, expensive. You got money, okay. I see you. I see you, sir. I'm sure she's gonna enjoy it. And then you guys gonna chill, you're gonna have a good day. Oh, it's gonna be so cute. You're gonna get her flowers. Hiya. Hi, Faye. How are you? How you doing? How was your birthday? Tell me. Tell me all about it. This you? Joke's on you, Nick. I don't wear glasses. Well, hello, Nick. How are you? How's your weekend? Also, today we're playing Valorant. I didn't say that, but today we're playing Valorant. Flower, chocolate, squish. Oh, she's a squishmallow girly. That's so cute. I hope you didn't get roses, Kudo. If you get roses, I'm officially labeling you a basic bitch. I heard Kobe on Tesla said the internship so I could probably get goodbye. Oh my gosh. Hi, Jay. Thank you for stopping by. I hope your internship is going well. That's so exciting. If you're still here, feel free to tell me how it is. I'm so excited to hear about it. You're still a nerd. Nick, I don't think I'm the nerd. Because you're the one reading, or said you were gonna read all these high philosophy, whatever type of books. But I mean, I could still accept it. I'm just not the smartest of the nerds. I'm good. I had a nice birthday cake. What flavor birthday cake did you have, if you don't mind me asking? Did you get basic vanilla? Is the game not gonna show? Oh, there it is. Haha. And me, I'm doing good. I'm pretty good. I'm chilling. I got dandelions. Kudo, you know what you should do? There's a song called Dandelions by Ruth. I don't know what her name is. I think it's Ruth B or something. But it's a cute song. It just reminded me when you were, when you said that. Nah, I'm for calling philosophy nerd. Philosophy is still nerdy. Philosophy takes a lot of energy. I don't know how you're doing it, bro. Settings, audio. Okay, that's down. You literally studied psychology. I don't know what you're talking about. Toffee? Toffee cake? That's a thing? What? Did you go out and do anything exciting, Faye? I need a color. You guys choose a color, or should we stick with white? OMG, I already thought of that. Playing that song? Wait, you actually know that song? Oh my gosh, you're so smart. You're so smart. Let's buy this. I think we should stay with white. We'll stick with white. See how it goes. If it's no bueno, then we change the color. Yep, oh my goodness. You're like ahead of me. Bro, slow down. You like prepared. You like the over prepared, but like good over prepared. But like it's not even like you're over prepared. You just have a lot planned, which is great. I'm still barely here. Oh my gosh, and I finally got Blade. Jay, I'm jealous of you. Tell me about Blade. I want to hear and live vicariously through others, cause I still want Blade, but like I don't want to play the game anymore. So I'm probably gonna spend money on the game. Low-key. Just to get Blade, and then like I'll never touch the game again. I don't know what fits with this one. Yep. Hell yeah. It was better that I learned all the lyrics and made my own version. You're gonna sing it to her? Blade slaps hard. I'm so happy but so sad that you got him. He can also solo a certain MOC with the correct solo. God damn. Spare Blade, por favor. Can we do this one? But it's on the Spectre. Dre, I'm gonna need like a full gameplay of Blade sent to my email, cause yeah. This is much. Perchance. Kudo, if you don't sing it, you're getting all of our hopes up and that's not nice. Even if you think you don't have a nice voice, you do. What's good, home skillet? What's up, homeboy? I'm chilling, I'm relaxing. Kazu, did you get Blade? Or were you saving? No, you said you didn't like Kafka, right? No, you were saving for Kafka, right? Shit, my memory's bad. Yes, ma'am. I'm saving for Kafka? My voice is deep, so it works. Kudo, you should do that. And then imagine, I feel like the most common instrument to use for it is like a ukulele. So you have like a ukulele, and then they like land a couple. God damn, why y'all so quick? So then like the little ukulele. That'd be so cute. Nah, I got Blade. Oh my goodness, how is he? Did we talk about
Das
it?
werden deine letzten Stunden sein, Ponke.
I think you're on the wrong servers.
Nothing, sorry.
Oh no, he's on the right servers. Bro, speaking facts on God, Nick, what did he say? Allergic just wanted to say hi. Hi Kieran.
Nah,
I hope you're
unfortunately
doing
not.
well.
Only kiss the Rainer.
Also, I'm taking out my headphones, so if the audio fucks up, then you know.
I am German, yeah.
I already recorded everything with you. Oh, you recorded it. Oh my gosh. That shit can keep it for. Damn. You really into this. That's so amazing. We need more people like you, Kudo, in this world. Secret? What if I replay this VOD and go to Google Translate? What language is he speaking? I'm new here. Hello, Kimi Mitoko. My name's Kozma. You can call me Kozu. I am a crack, not so crack, Honkai Star Rail and Valorant streamer. I don't really play Genshin. Go ahead then. I can't stop you. No, but what language is he speaking? Please, I need to know. Just look up. Good morning. How are you? Did you sleep well? Make sure you drink some water. I'm literally the best boyfriend on God, bro. Well, besides another one, but other than that, you're pretty high up there. He's speaking facts. What the fuck?
Okay, let's get going. This work won't take care of
Factual.
itself.
I'm not gonna attempt to say that. My whole week vacation has been sleeping, as it should be. Did you have, like, was it worth it, Kieran? Because you work so much. Of course you need to spend it sleeping. And streaming. How is everything? I'm gonna go, I'm gonna shoot it, and I'm gonna fuck it up.
Oops. 55 on raise.
Oh my god, thank you, Zay!
Where's it? Oh, it's a child. Guys, the day I start playing Valorant and it's no longer lagging on stream, or even in anything, is the day I fucking stomp on all these people. I'm calling it from now. He's speaking Russian? Okay, gotta go have something super. Alright, kiddo. Thank you for stopping by. I don't know if I believe you on that being Russian, but you know. Thank you for your input. I hope everything goes well. Man, I'm feeling like straightening my hair tomorrow for no reason, just to see how it would look. Do it.
Wait, Ponky, are you a man?
Do it. I agree with that, even though I don't.
I'll
Oh
take that
shit.
as a no.
I don't know what the fuck it looks like, but I feel like it'll look good. Oh shit. Oh shit.
If you said yes, I would have asked if you wanted to kiss.
Dude, can we? It's you're a kid. What do you mean you
Sorry,
want
that's
to kiss?
nice.
One enemy remaining.
The kid said he wanted to kiss. Sometimes I hate this game.
I think Sage is gold. I think I broke her shield.
Word on what, Kazu?
Oh my.
The day I
Watch out,
lowered my
watch out.
sense 8 times was the day I started going up.
That's HP.
So I have to lower
You
my
had these
sensitivity? Oh, okay.
She's a man. She's one.
Maybe I'll try. Actually, but I don't know if lowering my sensitivity will work. Does it combat lag? Russian? You want before and after pics?
Last round in the half.
I mean, if you want to share them, you can share them. I'm not really gonna ask for them. I don't know people's comfortability, so I don't want to ask you stuff like that. But if you want to share it, I'm not gonna be like, no, don't share it, you know? No, only I did. Lower your sensitivity. But like, what if that's the key to like winning? Is like lowering your sensitivity? Cause like, what if you're someone who plays a lot of like, oh shit, she walled it off. But if you're someone who plays like a lot of fast-paced games, and lowering your sensitivity is like the thing that changes everything. Oh shit. Oh shit.
On the Cypher.
But where's the cipher though?
Please.
30 seconds left.
She gonna...
One enemy remaining.
No, okay. Okay. Never mind, no cause to tell me. Tell me. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's a 200 DPI
Switching
times
sides. Match point.
1d60 normally for you guys is like 8 for me. Damn. So that makes it faster? Lowering the sensitivity isn't an instant win cheat code. It's like a close to instant win cheat code. Oh. Play on the sensitivity you like and I use, so you're gonna end up better than using someone else's. Oh yeah, I know. I just thought it would be funny if like you change your sensitivity and like all of it. Oh shit.
There.
All of a sudden you're like built different, you know? Oh shit.
Wait, fall back, Funky.
Oh.
Thank you. Out of healing.
Are you a man?
Asud is one more word away from getting muted.
Okay, I guess not.
30 seconds
Oh
left.
no! Cypher! You just need comfy sense. Yeah, that's true. I also need a better graphics card.
Enemy remaining.
I don't know if you guys
Nice
know.
job.
I think I have a fucking, was it 16 encoding overload? Consider turning down videos. I think I have a 1650 or whatever it is.
Defenders win.
Do not fight us again.
Let's see. It was like okay at first, but about a year and a half later, 2 years later, it's not holding up with all the games. Yeah, 1650. Actually, comfy sense. I'm a man. Oh no! Faye, you sent it too late. Make me say something. Eyebrow base? How do I say an eyebrow base? Do you want me to say anything else, Faye? I got my 1 kill. You think that's good enough to play co-op now? Guys, okay, look. If we lose this game, we're going to Iron 2. Is it the end of the day? Not really. I've been to Iron 2 before. But you know. Eyebrow face? Yeah, because you said redeem, make me say something, and it said eyebrow base. So I'm like, you wanted me to say eyebrow base? I don't know if I can do anything other than to say eyebrow base. Eyebrow face? Eyebrow face. Is Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Nick, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. I need a bit more communication from your end. I want enough monies to buy this. Okay? We're not stopping stream till I can get this guy. And then once I can get that guy, we end stream. That's all I'm saying right now. Skull emoji? Why skull emoji? Why you skull emoji? Oh, that is that again. I like Ascent, but it makes me nervous because I once got verbally assaulted on Ascent and it wasn't fun. That's Kazu's emote. The popping one. Eyebrow face on God. See? You get it. You like it. That dude's... I can't hear shit. Saw, dude. You like the eyebrow raise? Eyebrow raise on God. I got verbally assaulted for hitting me, but don't you think I did that? I did that afterwards. But it happened first. And then I did hit the mute button. Crazy, right? Never would have expected that to happen. At least you try to say mute everyone from the beginning, but I don't know. You know who I should have played? I should have played Sky. I probably should have played Sky. Oh well. You got assaulted? Just walk away. What? I can't. You honestly, you're right. I should have just gotten up and left the game. I should have just risked the AFK warning. Man, I feel like committing genocide again. Why are you committing genocide a first time? Sir, please refrain from doing and saying such activities. We don't do that. First, but you said again. So it means you felt like committing it once. So why did you feel it the first time? Actually said verbally assaulted.
Does anyone else feel that way? Need a drop. Just me.
Actually should have just walked away.
Need a drop.
Actually throwing my elo.
Turn out.
You know what I'm gonna do one day? I'm just gonna one day just fucking pull the trigger, get a new graphics card, and you guys are gonna come to stream and be like, oh my gosh, your shit is that lag, and I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Gotta go. Placing alarm bot.
But this guy right here
Placing swarm grenade.
shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here.
They're dead.
Miss.
Gotta go.
Bro, what the fuck is that?
Bot coming back. Recalling my bot.
Oh my fucking cheeks.
Okay. I low-key can't hear the game. I'm gonna go to front.
One enemy remaining. Last player.
Oh
standing.
no.
Spike down B.
I got it. One second,
should
por
humble
favor.
them.
Tell me if the audio's too, like, once. Yes, once, Nick. If the audio's, like, something's too loud or another thing's too quiet or something, I'll adjust it for you guys. You were just getting murdered. Just ask them to stop.
Placing sentry.
You were getting accidentally deleted. Just tell them to write it back.
Placing swarm
Oh shit. Okay. You were actually getting your purse stolen. Just ask them to give it back. They all over there? Alright.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining.
Okay.
There's
Okay, it's thank you. Once. Yes, once. Should we keep the marshal? Oh, let's back. My marshal! Goodbye. Because if you said again, that signifies that the event happened at least once, you know?
placing swarm grenade.
So then, now that it's happening, quote unquote, again,
Here.
then
Turret
this is
destroyed.
happening
Out of
for
charges.
a second time.
Here.
Guys, you're not moving fast enough.
Spike planted.
Oh shit, I got one. No! I got my ones. Oh, he's hell.
Last player player standing. One enemy remaining.
Once? Yes, sir. Once. Did it not happen before once? Is my... Oh, huh? Is my interpretation of the word incorrect? And T.
My advice: don't get shot.
Okay, shot.
I'm out of here.
Once I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room full of rats.
Alarm bot out. Placing swarm grenade. Enemy.
Is it the same for y'all, or is everyone so quiet?
Spike down mid.
Spike's here. Clean kill. Spike's here. Enemy
Calling my bot.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, okay, just, yep, you got this.
Aw, Salty, try harder.
Good job. What was bro blabbering about? Who, me or Nick? Band? Because, Faye, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think you can ban the one who created all of this. I mean, we could try.
Turret out.
Oh.
Placing alarm bot. Placing swarm grenade.
But then if you ban the streamer, who does the channel belong to then? Oh shit.
Here.
Miss Neon, please don't run it. Oh, I mean, you can.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
One enemy remaining.
I mean, Miss Neon's got it.
Flawless.
BRB gonna reorganize my desk. Sir, yes, sir. I hope your reorganization goes. You know those like
Keep focused. Adrenaline. Go. Dangerous.
those moments where you feel a spark of like, I'm gonna go clean the entire world.
Placing sentry.
I feel like that's what Cosmo's experiencing right now. Honestly, I feel like I don't even need a setup because Neon just, you know. But I mean, I hope it goes well for her.
Placing swarm grenade.
Can that land? Oh, look at that.
Swarm grenade out.
Enemy A. Many enemies.
Enemy A.
Miss Neon. Oh shit. Okay.
Reloading. Placing swarm grenade. No swarm grenade out.
Haha.
One enemy remaining.
He probably teleported to the other side. Oh, he didn't?
Spikes here.
I'm just gonna...
Spike
close up.
spotted A.
You know what I wish? I wish the turret could have seen from like every direction. Haha.
Is this the best?
Cause then I would have seen him.
Woo! We got this. I'm out of here.
I really think it'll be this time. We'll go B. We'll see what's up on the opposite side. Help.
Placing sentry.
Oh shit.
Placing alarm bot. Placing swarm grenade.
Oh shit. Miss Reina. Oh. Imagine if Phoenix, whenever he...
Last player standing.
Guys, why would you leave this to me?
Not coming back.
I think they're rotating back there.
I think so too.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Found them. Swarm grenade up. Swarm.
Oh, did you... Oh!
Nice try.
He's so nice about
I
it.
got things to do.
I got my ones though.
Gotta go.
He needs to be turned up. There we go.
Turret out.
I should turn off everything besides the game and OBS.
Time for
So
a
then
field
all you
test.
guys are gonna hear is just the game
Alarm bot out.
and me talking.
Placing swarm grenade. Who?
That's like the new meta. At least for me. You go, Miss Shit. You go, Miss Reina. Oh, she's up there. Miss Jet, why would you do that?
Begins.
I hear you.
I catch you.
You think they rotate?
Last player standing.
No, they're committing.
Oh,
Spike down
one in
B.
Nice try.
You guys can't leave me last alone.
Just, from the front.
I remember when the Valorant thingy came out like last year, and there was one of the stats for like how many clutches someone had, and they said that I had one of the highest amount of like clutches. I was like, sir, I don't think that's logically correct.
Turret out.
Oh.
Placing alarm bot. Placing swarm grenade.
I feel like you kind of know which side they're going to whenever they smoke it off, because Omen immediately smokes it off first.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Recalling my bot.
Pull them to their grave. Reeling them in.
One enemy remaining. Spike down B.
Oh, that was her.
Spike B.
I'm on this one. Oh, that one.
Let's
I
go.
got it.
Go, go, go.
Do you guys have a favorite gun skin? I think this one. This one, if it had like different branch variants, like say the branch color, if it like for the actually, but it does, doesn't it? The red one has the white branches.
Placing sentry.
Then all the other ones have brown branches.
Placing swarm grenade. Here.
Miss Neon? Oh, you're over there.
Spike down A.
Here.
Miss Neon.
One enemy remaining.
Told you there was one hell. I should have spoken into existence, Loki.
KJ 40.
God.
This Scheiße hurts.
Oh! This one,
We know
this gun, Riot knew what they were doing with this gun. I don't think there's a better gun than the Axis Vandal. Or the Sentinels of Light. Or the Reaver.
One of my better games.
Placing sentry.
Oh.
Placing swarm grenade.
God damn. Did it go off? Or did they shoot it first? Oh shit! No! I like peeking out of the smoke. I feel like that's such a power move. Will they know it? Yeah, I was probably gonna fucking die.
Initiated.
But why not?
Nah, bro. I sprayed through that bit.
For YC Nazis.
87.
One enemy remaining.
Area is clear. Here.
Last player standing.
Deadlock, I'm gonna need you to hurry up.
You should run. Spike here.
Is she in there?
30 seconds left.
Nice. Nice.
Last round before the switch.
You're gonna win this, and then the next one, you're gonna lose. It's always a win-lose with Valorant these days. I don't know if you guys play Valorant and have the same thing. Or like you win 2, and then you lose
Turret out.
1. So then you get the tryhards, but then the tryhards are not on your team. They're on the opposite team. Oh.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Spike down B. One enemy remaining.
Oh yeah, monster on the loose. Nice.
Switching sides.
Go.
Thank you.
Going B.
I remember saying thank you YouTube once to someone and they were so confused, so I kept saying it like the entire game until they started saying it back. And I was like, hell yeah!
Reload.
I like it. I'll take it. You shot from it! I have been scammed.
There. Reloading.
Oh shit. Can you still see my head from here? Maybe.
Watch out.
Reloading.
Oh. Oh, so this, that makes sense.
Enemy B.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, did she get rid of my turret?
Careful.
Hell yeah!
Don't stress if I die. It was great.
Everything seems so slow that
Delete my hard drive.
I don't know if you guys have this when you're playing something and then it's one way and you get so used to it. But then when other people are watching, they're just like, this feels weird. You're just like, weird. Feels like normal.
Reloading. Placing sentry. Reloading.
You got Millie rocks.
Enemy spotted.
Oh,
Down. Alarm bot out.
miss!
Multiple enemies B. I'm out of
I can't get it. Oh,
Spike down B.
No way, bruh.
I don't know how we're gonna get this.
Placing swarm grenade.
enemy
Swarm
spotted B.
grenade out.
Reloading. Reloading.
I got
Last player standing.
And I just picked up the
Down
spike.
B.
Oh, she moved over.
I got
Shit.
the spike.
Don't let him ace. It's cause freaking Miss y'all went out there with this fucking spike.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, good. Oh, she's gonna ace now.
30 seconds left.
Watch out for a minute.
Oh no. Itchy.
Dang.
I'm over them.
Damn.
Go, go, go. I'm out of here. Need a drop.
Target go, go.
Do I expect your money? I mean, I can. But then I'd be out of money. Maybe next time.
Our spike carrier is killed.
Why would you go out there with the spike? Is it a spike? Oh, it's back there.
I got the spike. Enemy down.
Got one.
Just rotate, eh?
I can't.
Last player standing.
Like, I can't.
Spike down mid.
Everyone else had them. Do you think Rene got this? I think the possibility is possibility.
One enemy remaining.
Oh yes, 2 of those? Does it regen? Nice.
Nice.
Reyna, I can see why you don't
There's so many
I'm out of here.
abilities
scary enough without.
that are on like a time
let's go ahead,
thingamajigger. I feel like Reina's gonna have enough. Reina, when she gets enough money, is gonna buy an op. Collect it from now, and then someone's gonna get Millie Wops by an op, and
Go, go, go.
Reloading.
then the whole team's fucked. I hope that doesn't happen though. Sensor chips.
Placing alarm bot.
Someone has an Odin. I hear it. That's a cute little one way.
Barrier deployed.
Placing sentry. Placing swarm grenade.
Planted.
Shit.
Placing swarm grenade.
Reyna killed. Gun here.
She's 148! Oh my gosh!
Joke's over! You're dead!
Listening. Hostile down.
Now you have this.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, you can get concussed by the one thing.
Clutch.
Nice. Nice.
Match point.
We can all agree losing sucks. Come on, let's win.
Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh! Yay! I'll get a pick. Okay. I don't know if they knew or something.
That's how you survive.
But hell yeah, I got D-Max's gun. And now I didn't even have to ask for it.
Multiple targets aimed. Reload, reload.
Oh?
No escape. My ultimate is ready. Alarm bot down.
Spike down A.
What the fuck?
One enemy remaining.
Hot one.
I was thinking geckos. Oh, nice.
Attackers win.
GG's.
Again, guys.
Oh, they were nice. You guys think this next game's gonna go any well? Yeah. 26. Let's hope this next one goes just as good. I'm gonna change this one.
Match found.
Half the time I don't even realize the songs that are going on like in the background. Oh. The last time I played Fractured, I got like there was who played KJ again? There was a cheater in the lobby. And we got like there was a cheater detected warning, and like the game ended, and I thought it was so cool. I hope this last person plays Smokes. If not, then I'll probably play Viper. Unless they play someone who can ascend to null. Or should I play Cypher? But I don't know how to play Cypher on this one. This sounds like a Twitch name. A Twitch human name. They're gonna like come in last minute and pick like the first agent their eyes land on.
I've already sorted everything.
I already sorted everything. No! I actually like playing Fracture sometimes. I know a lot of people hate it. It was like Fracture's a love-hate relationship. I used to love it when it first came out. Like when I first started playing it.
Match
And then I
found.
grew to hate it. And then I grew to love it again. Oh yay! I heard us talking about our love-hate relationship for Fracture. It's like depends on the day type of energy. Whether Fracture's like good or not. Oh? Okay. This is good.
I've already sorted everything.
This is satisfactory. I have a good feeling about this game. Seems gonna be just as good as the other one. If not better. Oh, these games are not these games. Like these songs are slow. It's making me sleepy. We need more upbeat songs. We're gonna play this playlist. This is more upbeat than the rest. Then there's a sped up playlist. Songs to listen to while playing Honkai Star Rail. Oh my gosh. Probably play that even though we're not playing Honkai Star Rail. Oh. Is that silver? Gold? We have a gold in this lobby. What? How we... What? This game knows something I don't, and it's not being a good player, that's for sure. Valorant makes me nervous simply put because of like how bad the like matchmaking is. Okay, it's not too bad. The Prime is also a really good set. Whoever created the Prime knew what they were doing. Especially the Classic. I don't know what it is about the Classic. The Classic just hits different. Chamber, yeah, put it back there. Oh, you're going there? I'll go ahead and...
Hear me.
On the way.
One lock, I think.
We're getting into the territory where people actually talk.
Planting.
Spike planted.
Swarm grenade out.
And that's been nerve-wracking.
Recalling my bot. Here. Here. Reloading.
Behind us.
Oh!
Last player standing.
Well, that go running gun. Chamber!
Good shot.
NT. I can't type. NT.
Okay, we know the drill. Stick to your roles and we'll crush it.
She like ran across me and killed me.
I'm going to say.
She running gun to me.
Alarm bot out. Placing swarm grenade.
Where's Jet? Are they not here again?
Hey.
Oh no.
Bot coming back. Bot coming back.
Oh, they're all A. They're all long. All of them. On site.
A bot.
Reloading.
Can't get orbs.
Spike planted.
What?
No.
I think this is gonna be another bad game. But we won't count it from this.
Here.
Last player
Oh
standing.
no.
Good try, Jim. Yeah, they be pushing up quick.
Chamber, about that nanotech for your guns. Do you like have any extra?
I'm gonna do this. And then I'm gonna go on this site with them instead.
Time to spray and pray.
Yeah. Placing alarm bot. Placing swarm grenade.
Oh, let's go on B.
hear them.
What are the chances?
Recalling my bot.
Nice.
Bro, wasn't Yoru dead? I killed someone else?
Yeah.
22.
I'm gonna go back to A just in case.
Jet.
Rip Jet.
They were rotating or not? Yep, Viper's rotating to A. Should put a wall down. Yep, I hear it.
I'm on my way, sir.
They're both over.
I just hide.
Placing swarm. One enemy remaining.
Oh no. How the hell?
Got ABJ.
Yo, what is this? Why did it look so tiny?
They didn't think we would give up, did they?
They didn't think we could up. I hate how I was in iron lobbies and then they put me straight to silver and gold lobbies. I can't keep up with it.
Placing alarm bot.
It's just like, oh yeah, you've proved yourself in these lobbies, so we're gonna put you in completely new higher lobbies. Cause of course you can do it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Of course not, I cannot do it.
Spike down A.
Found them.
Bro, Reyna just jump scared me. What the hell? One's drop, one's drop. With ult, I guess. So be careful.
Hell yeah.
Turret down.
Smoke it off.
Fuck, they're on site.
Terminated.
Nice, KJ.
They're on site. Last two are on site.
Spike planted. One enemy.
Yeah.
AJ popped off.
Thanks. Oh no, you don't deserve my inventions.
I don't know if they wanted it.
Only malfunctioned that one time, and honestly, she won't miss that finger.
Let's hope they didn't want it. Fingers crossed.
Turret out.
Network problem too. My game's going through it today.
Who's next?
Oh.
Yo, they're on tower with me. Jet, protect me. Oh, weird.
Recalling my bot coming back. My ult
Spike planted.
Oh shit.
My bad, my bad. Oh, man.
Here.
One enemy remaining.
Oh damn!
My
I should not
eyes.
use,
Phoenix.
Well,
Yeah, there's one
Is
person.
anyone else on it?
Reloading.
You don't deserve my inventions. Everyone, note down your
This is a nice group
You
of
like my
people.
iron buddy?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Iron days.
Are we not still in iron?
No, all good. I got it off.
We're not still in iron.
I think
It's not like I can sell it anymore.
Placing sentry.
No, like literally, I got it last round.
Placing swarm grenade.
Oh.
It's A.
Here.
No, someone should watch Trout.
Oh, I'll watch B if you want.
Found them. Swap alarm bot down. Placing swarm grenade. Turret destroyed. Here.
You're gonna look here, and I'm gonna get my shit rocked.
Fuck 117 she's on site, Vapor. Viper's
Spike
low.
planted. One enemy remaining.
One drop.
Yay!
Nice.
It's a spinny one. But I like this one. These people confuse me so much. They're great, but confusing as hell. I need a new setup for this. What?
Placing alarm bot.
They won't expect it.
Jay, you
Oh,
want me to
shit.
flash you in? Or out?
Placing swarm grenade.
And then. And then.
What?
I'm gonna flash you in.
I've got your trail.
He's so
Here.
nice.
Spike down.
Spike
B.
down.
Oh wow.
Bot coming back. Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
Someone's gonna come flank. Like me.
Maybe going down 10?
Yeah, do we still have bomb?
No.
Oh shit. They're probably rotating for sure.
You think they are?
Yeah, rotating.
I'm gonna try run with you as fast as I can.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
This guy's man. Nobody knows.
She's up top. I haven't.
Just kind of baited you, man.
Whatever the fuck that's called.
There we go. Ready? Peekaboo, bitch.
My ultimate's ready. Be good. Be good.
He's nice. Oh, toggle on. There you go. That has a big radius. Oh wow. I'm gonna go put this here, and then this here,
Swarm grenade.
and then put this guy right
I
here.
bet they expect me here. So,
Recalling my bot. Out of charges.
I'm just gonna be in tower, I guess.
There we go. I don't know if that's too far out. It could possibly be.
Here. Ah, turret down. Placing swarm grenade. Careful.
Fuck 44. They're on site. Not a push up on site. Euro put a thing.
Oh, he crouched!
Nice.
I hate when they crouch, because when they crouch, it's like you're ready to give a headshot.
Spike planted.
Oh, you can't fucking give a headshot.
Oh, where did it
'cause
go?
then they- out of sight.
There's one top side.
Okay, there.
Nice.
One enemy remaining.
Y'all got it. What?
No!
I'm actually terrible at this game.
That flick was nasty.
Y'all gotta push her. Okay, there you go.
Nice.
Nice.
It's in the corner. Where you at?
Oh, thank God you did it. Alright, thank God.
Poppy head.
Poppy, poppy.
We good. We good.
I'm blind.
Love you.
He's what? He's blind.
That tech is
I want his gun again.
skill. And there, we have some
I don't wanna ask for it. Felix.
Someone spot me. Shukriya. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know how to ask. I'm too nervous. I live Araxless. I live in Araxless.
infantry.
I love you guys when you play games and then someone has these skin you want,
Who's next?
but you're too afraid to ask for it.
Nobody.
Found them. Swarm grenade out.
Oh, 105 euro. He's on A.
Here.
He's low, dude. Someone's coming up drop. They're on A, I'm pretty sure.
Turrets destroyed.
I can't see them.
Here.
Okay, I got one. I redeemed
That
myself.
wall's about to come down.
Spike planted.
Here. Enemy kill. My ult's ready. Blocking sight. Here.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, he's 12. Oh my
Good
gosh.
shit, y'all.
My good luck charm is the Axis Vandal, but I lost even that. And then the Spinny Vandal too. So I'm missing it.
Placing alarm bot.
If you guys know any setups for... I'm gonna see if I can go up here actually.
Turret out.
For this site.
Oh, one arcade, one jet. No.
Jet.
Yeah, I was not gonna do anything.
Found them.
Killed my bot.
What the fuck?
Swarm grenade
Spike planted.
Recalling my bot.
There's one.
Someone got an off over here.
Is someone flanking?
Last player standing.
Hey, she has a... Hey, she has an Odin. Oh,
48,
NT.
yeah.
I saw her head poke out over the top.
Seriously, I can buy for you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I got this gun.
Thank you. I'll go here. Actually. Since Chambers got that gun.
Placing sentry.
They're gonna go. Oh.
Oh shoot, my bad. I
Oh,
almost
both
died.
of them have ops.
Turret destroyed. Placing alarm bot. Placing swarm grenade.
Enemies B. Here.
Placing
can't
swarm
peek it.
grenade. Swarm grenade
Oh
out.
frick.
I've got your trail.
KJ, no!
I got one.
Enemy remaining.
Holy, my shit was lagging.
My bad.
He's offing. You got splashes, yes.
You got splashes?
And double peek it. Don't get collat though.
Nice. Don't get cool at
Last
though.
round in the half.
Spend it now, or it's gone.
Why doesn't Harper buy full shield? I'm confused as to his decision.
Turret out.
It's a stay
Unless you want it.
safe.
Alarm bot out.
Placing swarm grenade.
Okay, about full shield. He bought full shield. We're playing this. You could double peek this shit. With this setup, this is my favorite spot to play. You saw someone?
Placing swarm grenade.
Actually, so. Yeah.
Swarm grenade out.
There's one in our spawn.
I knew it! 40 though.
One drop.
Down.
Rotating. Unless they don't. They drop, they drop.
Oh shit. Thank you.
Down A. One enemy remaining.
Last one was like near here when he killed me.
Yeah, he
30
just like
seconds
can't.
left.
There's no way he rotates from B all the way to house.
We have spike.
I feel like there's a possibility of him rotating from all the way over there.
Oh, we got an Odin.
Oh,
You
not
bitch.
the Odin.
Get on heaven and just camp it. Oh god.
Move location.
Yes,
10
sir.
seconds left.
Found them. Swarm grenade out.
Weave.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Damn.
Switching sides.
8 HP. Damn. That shouldn't have been as nerve-wracking as it was. That really shouldn't have. Never seen before Odin spray. It just... Hefe! Thank you for the lick. I hope you're doing well. I hope if you're doing stuff, it's going well too. But thank you. Thank you for licking. We got Millie Rob. You missed the Odin dodge of the century. Last, ma'am, that's not how it works. One day I'm gonna find a way so that you guys can only redeem it when stream is about to end. But then every day stream's a different length, so I don't know how plausible that idea is. But I mean, it makes sense.
One
Well,
enemy
let's see.
remaining.
Flanking. He's main.
He's a man. I couldn't tell you, bitch. I got one tapped. My shit got Millie rocked.
No, he did not kill me there.
I mean, you could just make it so each
Yep, found
person
him. My bad,
gets
go.
one, and the one to do it last is the true last. That's true, but I don't think Twitch has an. Does Twitch have an option for that?
Don't stress if I die. It was great knowing you all. Also, delete my hard drive.
Cause then maybe. It'd be a smart idea, but I don't know. Cause I know they have a you can redeem it once. I think so. Actually, I'll check that out later. I'll take a screenshot so then I can see this message and be like, what was she talking about again? Oh shit. Faye, how do you know all these things? Maybe you're the true streamer here. You should start streaming.
Right there, my
things.
bad.
Oh. Where's right
60
there?
damage, and he's only got frenzy. He took my Bucky. He's right there. What? What?
One enemy remaining.
My ultimate's ready.
Oh, baby.
Last player
Heaven.
standing. Spike down B.
Nice.
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 Oh shit.
Remember, your weapon is only a tool.
You can't
shoot.
just
You have
you
to
have to
think.
think. Can I? I can! Look at that. Our Phoenix is
Not gonna lie, I was scared.
different.
I was clenching my cheeks.
Yeah, you got ult there too. And the flash.
Damn.
Reloading.
No, Cajun Viper.
Keep up.
Me too. At least they're supporting. What do you mean they get facts?
Placing alarm bot.
Reloading.
I feel like this whole game is filled with different like level trainings.
Yo, great timing ball.
Cause
Oh, there's one tower.
Spike carrier to stay.
Spike down
And
A.
one more sands.
Placing swarm grenade.
One on site.
Enemy spotted A. Enemy spotted A.
oh shit.
Swarm grenade out. Found them. Alarm bot down.
Yo, nice.
Oh,
It should be
One
roads.
more heaven.
there's one flank.
Here.
Last player standing.
Oh,
Ooh. Still alive.
And T-bro.
Buy stuff, ka-ching, looks good.
Looks good.
We're done.
I'm broke. Oh no. I don't have money. Stinger. Supposedly the stinger is good.
Reloading.
So we'll use it to the best of our abilities. Let us win. No, you can't. Wait, this whole team's buy is so out of whack.
I'm ulting.
Reloading.
My ult is ready here.
Spike carrier is dead.
damn it.
Spike down B.
Who's next?
I got spike.
He's having.
Don't plant
Yeah.
yet.
I'm
Placing
76.
swarm grenade. Turrets destroyed.
Yep, he's gonna do that
One-
flash.
Swarm grenade. Swarm
One
grenade
close
out.
right.
Last player
Carrier to
standing.
stay.
God.
Spike down B.
You're not in this either. They're demonic. There's like I could buy Spectre. I don't know if it's a Spectre's only viable if I don't die. Which is what we need. Excuse me, sir.
I think we go B again because we've been switching every round.
Well, that's true.
Check
I don't want to be in silver anymore. I'm in iron. You're 2 levels above me.
Yeah, I'm coming to help you.
What do you mean you don't want to be in silver anymore?
Placing
I'm
alarm
still
bot.
in iron.
Placing swarm grenade.
Yo was there.
Swarm
I
grenade
can get a
out.
flank on
Oh
him.
shit.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
Wait,
You know what I think she was?
she wants
Got your trail.
One enemy remaining.
Hit her 120.
Reloading.
Oh, nice.
Not my cleanest work, but I'll take it.
Match point.
So close I can taste it. Come on! I can buy for you. My tree.
Oh,
Need a final push. I'll buy.
I got an ult. We
thank
could just
you.
fully fuck over A. Just push on it hard.
Thank you.
Reloading.
I'll drop the ult, drop a wall, throw a little orb, plant where it's over.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
for
agree. I agree.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're gonna do this.
Shit.
Watch your eyes.
Alarm bot out.
Not your best.
Wow.
Stir the dark. Walls up. Blocking fire.
And it's over just like that.
Placing sentry.
Planted. Reloading.
There's Spike.
Very clean.
Is it down here?
AJ got flame.
Jesus.
I got this thing here.
They all,
I got
all
the
have
Viper.
Odins. All of them have Odins.
Oh shit, just behind you. Oh, never mind. Oh, still behind you.
Here.
Caught one.
Enemy.
Last player standing.
Chamber!
Do they have
Damn it.
time?
I think they do
I
have
think they got
time. No, they don't. No. Oh, nice. GG's. That was good. Although once they got 8, I didn't get another kill after that, but it's not far off from the rest of the team. I feel like going again, but I also feel nervous about going again. But you know, we're gonna take advantage of this. No, we're gonna get our ship mill. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna manifest it. If we manifest it, then it may happen. Oh wait, we can buy the one. We can buy the thing now. Hell yeah! Yes, please, before it goes on. Yes, sir. That's what I'd like to see. What I want to try doing is I want to try doing streams later in the day, but I have like no fucking energy towards like the end of the day and stuff like that.
Match found.
Maybe it's a sign for me to like invest in energy drinks. So then if I stream later, I have more energy to stream. Content. Oh. Cypher. Channel points. The last. If enabled, only viewer requests will skip. What? Limited redemptions per stream. Limit redemptions per user. Oh, there is a limit redemptions per user per stream. Faye, you were right on that one. Limit redemptions per. There's one. Limit redemption per user per stream. I feel like gamers should stay the entire stream because halfway through and beating us on the Jenny checkers. Whoever truly whoever's the last to game is truly the, but then I have to but like I was saying, entire stream come halfway through or meet us at the end. As last. Let's do try. Oh, but that's already. Try claim your loss. We can just do that. We can also put it as make ETV Lido 71 sickest. What? That's a very interesting name. I wanna search him up. TTVLITO 71 SICKE sickest. Oh, they're actually streaming.
Don't aim that camera at me, Cypher. Save it for the end.
So Bay. Oh, I want to have their stream up while we're streaming. That would be hilarious. I wonder for a ghost. You guys can't hear that, can you? I'll just put on 0. Is this no, this is a different person. Cause this person is playing on Fracture. What the fuck?
Yes, this should do.
Well, we're on what the fuck? Reina.
Caught one. Here.
Oh shit, the door. The door fucked me up but saved me at the same time.
Last player standing.
This person has so many. Oh, biscuit.
Good attempt.
Oh. So many advertisements. NT.
Nice try.
NT. I can't talk.
I got scared.
That's fine.
I take it.
That is
I don't buy a gun to the 3rd round. I usually play the water boy, but since you guys, I don't know, I faith in you. They know you got to stab him with that fan.
I
want that shit.
Hunting omen.
I guess Reina will take Spike.
Reloading. Reloading.
Unless I wait until 3rd round.
Still inside.
Oh shit.
Cage triggered.
Last player standing.
He's 104. I don't know about this one, boys. We got one. We're gonna get. Oh. They ran away.
I'll do my job, you do yours.
And T, brother.
I'm saving.
Or we could do that. Or this. Why did it go away? This will have more money, actually.
Reloading.
It's like I always know which site we're going to.
Reloading. Cutting their vision.
Ermin, are you alright?
I got enemies, B.
Inside.
There's at least 2 of them there.
Oh?
Reina, stand in front of me.
Barrier created. Reloading.
I don't think that was the smartest idea.
Sorry, I'll give you your gun back.
Since none of us are trying to get on site. Shit. Forgot I put it down.
30 seconds left.
Cage triggered.
One enemy remaining.
Oh. It's like the quality of gaming goes down. The first game you get like, you do super well, and then what the hell? Oh, because it was on top of the wall. And then like every other game after that just goes like downwards.
I'm done playing.
The quality of gaming is not qualifying right now. And that's alright. Should I just play full shields? I don't want to play full shield until I lose the gun.
Together.
That wouldn't be fun.
I was trying to give you your gun back because I can put that wall up without you really.
To disappoint.
Right there.
My ult ready.
Oh. See? That wasn't it to happen. Oh shit.
Spike down.
40 on it. Oh
One
man.
enemy remaining.
Nice.
Nice.
Should we use the Phantom? I'm gonna try the Phantom, because Phantom's a cute little Phantom.
Deep breaths, everyone. Your hearts are pounding.
Anyone need
Need a drop. Thank you.
The investment was investing.
I'm feeling generous. Who needs a buy?
Your mom. I want the glass. Miss Ma'am?
My eyes. That goes there.
Are we going here again?
Right there.
Don't wall back. Don't wall this side up. I hate Sage people who wall off like behind you. Cause then you can't like, you can't really go anywhere.
Wall raised. Reloading.
You're kind of like blocked off from the entirety of like almost everything.
Caught one. Cage triggered. Who's next?
Fades up. Fades, yeah.
My ultimate is ready. Where is everyone hiding?
Last player standing.
Oh, damn.
Nice try.
Nice try. Nice try, guys.
Thank you. It never works out how you really want it.
Prepare yourself. We fight once again.
I'm vibing with the Phantom though. Kind of.
Wants to fake out C. That way they can rotate C and then we can change. I'll fake out C. Supposed to be the healer, but you know, fuck this shit.
I mean, you can always still be the healer.
Cover going out.
Face your fear!
No, thank you. Alright, I guess I'm going. Okay, makes sense.
There's 2 of them over here.
Reloading.
That makes a lot of sense. Sir? All that was on purpose or by accident, but how do you concuss your own teammates?
Tripwire destroyed.
Shit.
Cage triggered.
Reina, go that way. Go that way. Go that way. Miss Reina, you could have gone that way. Message.
There's 2 of them in the backside.
Cage triggered.
I can't put anywhere here? Okay, shit.
Sage over here.
Here.
Hit Sage for 105.
I got my ones. High average. Okay, that's not high average pain. Got it. Got it. Oh shit, you're gonna make. Oh, almost got it. Nice.
Look at me.
I'm gonna try and help keep the team morale up. But if we Bulldog get heavy shields, Reina's doesn't seem to be buying an actual gun. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't think they've bought a gun other than a sheriff this entire game. Oh shit. Oh shit. Why did this happen as soon as I click out? Oh shit.
Tripwire destroyed.
Spike down A. Last player standing. Flawless.
We should have rotated low-key. But that's okay.
My bad. I was talking to my kids. They had me all fucked up.
Oh, you have kids? I'm gonna play the songs to listen to while...
Hey, yo, plan is, right? If we go to a site, we need to push in either fast or start rotating. As soon as they know we there, we can't wait till the whole team squads up again. I'm gonna go from 0 to hero right now.
You got this, Sage.
Reloading.
My ultimate is ready.
Sage knows what's up. Oh shit, I'm gonna play it here.
I've planted the spike. My ultimate is
Baby's
ready.
on top. She's coming through the back.
Found you. Careful now.
Reina?
The wall's gonna break.
Last player standing.
Oh shit.
Good try, guys. Guys, we're better than them. We got this.
Yes. Cypher main? Hi B. I don't know about Cypher main. Kind of. I just always play Cypher on this site, so it's like what I'm used to. But how are you? Do you have any tips for being a Cypher person?
Be my hero, baby.
I need an assistant to learn how to be the best Cypher. And I've seen your Cypher plays. Your Cypher plays are quite better than mine. Oh shit. Well, I got me a gun. Oh, it was Reina. Take your gun if you're gonna arrest him.
Our spike carrier is killed. Spike down.
No.
Last player standing.
Nice try. Nice try.
Only tip is put trips. Honestly, you're right about that one.
Oh, alright, you know what? Just forget the spike. Let's just kill him. Just kill them all.
But then you only have 2 trips. Do you do like the crazy different trips that have like, you know, like the fucking geometrical ones like these bitches? Or do you just put like just regular simple, you know, everyday cipher chips? I feel like they can jump over that. I ain't going front with you. Have you played KJ on this map? I have, like, in my early days. Is she good on this map? Or have you played her on this map, B? I need some tips.
Cage trigger.
Oh, she's behind the wall. Now just keep the chips simple, but sometimes fun to play some fun chips. Honestly, simple chips are easier when like you're in the high stakes situation, like you can't think about them. Nice.
Nice, lover boy. Nice.
Okay, just pretty good on this map. Next time you play Valorant and you stream, let me know. I'm gonna be there. And if you get this Lotus, I'm gonna request KJ so I can see, because I'm a visual learner, you know. So being able to see what's going on. Also, how are you, B? How's your week been? Also, guess what? B, listen. Last map, but personally, I like Cypher over KJ. Yeah, honestly, same. Even though I'm a KJ main, Cypher has a lot more freedom than Killjoy does. Oh, we're walled off. We're committed to this site. I was gonna molly that. I was gonna molly behind them. Oh shit. Oh, you have a lot.
100 off Omen.
She's not gonna expect this. Haha. Oh shit.
My ultimate is ready. Cage triggered.
Guys, I am gonna front with you.
Planted the spike. One enemy remaining.
I don't think we're gonna push.
Last player
I'm good. It's good to hear. How about you? I'm good. I'm chilling. I get to shoot. I get to talk with people. It's always good fun.
Before the switch.
We cannot keep our good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was about to tell you. In last game, so I'm still like Iron 3, right? Last game they put me in a lobby with with silvers and golds. And I'm just like, what? We gotta use them? Sir, we've been using our ults. I can say I've been using my ults. Sorry for your meanie. So Ray! And I got so confused. I held my ground. But I was like, god damn. It's like, your lobbies and higher. I got scared looking. And then someone like Odin sprayed me. I'm like, god damn.
Cage trigger.
It's okay if you saw me.
One enemy remaining.
Alright. Excuse me, let me do. Oh, they're back there. Are they saving again? So basically, a silver slash gold on a good day, maybe. On the occasional game, yes.
Switching sides.
I'm gonna skip this song. So cool, Japanese, but not entirely though. Don't feed into the delusions, B. Please don't. Cause next thing you know, I'm gonna like fucking peak corners like I'm a silver and gold and get my shit one tapped. And then I don't want to play Valor anymore because I keep dying.
This goes here. That goes there.
You're gold without the badge. I'm gold without the color. Which one's lower, gold or silver? After bronze is gold, right? Yeah. Okay, B, here's the thing. My use of util is gold. My aim is not. My aim is definitely is more like iron or unranked.
Cage triggered.
She grabbed a hold of me. Let me out. Let me out. Oh shit. It's okay. Haha, bitch.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
3 out of 5. This is
No!
Nice try. Nice
Yeah,
try, man.
thank you, Hank. Bronze, silver, gold. That's how it goes? Because is that? Damn. Where is I want my skill is silver, but my tilting is radiant. You tilty? I thought you didn't tilt. Your skill is not silver though. Your skill is at least plat. If is plat, which one's diamond? You were diamond, right? I feel like if you played more consistently, you would reach Ascendant or Immortal. And that's not me just being nice. I actually think you would.
cage triggered.
Oh, I thought I could have gotten him. I love if I play too much comp, I lose, I tilt. That's why you play a bit of comp, like 2 to 3 hours of comp. every day. And once the moment you feel like you're gonna tilt, you stop playing. And then that's how you keep your tilting energy down. And then your gamer
Thanks,
energy
man.
up. Of course. Of course.
I'm saving.
Are we saving? Sorry. No, I'm flat. I need to work on my aim more. V, you and I should do aim training. Let's do some aim training. You'll make it out of plat. Oh shit. I'll make it out of iron or bronze.
Here.
And then we become Radiant Pros. We make a team. Oh shit. We make it to VCT. And then we fucking take over the world. Sage is dead! Oh no.
Spike planted.
Bitch, I am go front. Okay.
Nice
I'm pretty
try,
sure you're
nice
higher
try.
elo than me. Me? You're you're lying is very good at it. Sir, I don't know what you're talking about. Me being higher elo than you. I'm down easy, easy. Hell yeah! Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Reloading.
This goes here.
That's cool.
Give me a corpse. Here.
Oh shit. Okay, just fucking use the Bucky then.
Found you.
Guys, I'm fucking scared.
Here. Got you. Camera taken out. Who's next?
Oh, why the? Okay, people who use Odins and Buckies
Face your fear.
don't have fucking good aim.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
Why did you shoot it?
Nice try.
I am gonna say nice strike because they didn't shoot the eye.
Together, we will bury them
So
under
Ray.
their transgression.
And then we can have you be and someone else as a duelist. I'll cover sentinels. All we need is a smoke and an initiator. Dang, tell him, Kozu. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just speaking the truth because they didn't even try to hide or like walk away. I think they've given up now. Or like do anything to denounce the eye. They just, you know. Oh fuck me.
Here.
Spike planted.
Cage triggered.
I've been walled off.
Threat neutralized. Where is everyone hiding? Cage triggered.
Last player standing.
No!
will they go this time?
Look like you're doing better than you. Better than half the team. It is what it is, bro. If I wasn't helping, I wouldn't have been second on the line of the team. But I can't say that. It's like my bullets weren't bulleting. I deked her, she jumped. Yeah, bro. In the heat of their moment, they don't see me shooting, but I can't say nothing because there's no replay.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Nice.
Shameful performance.
Alright, my bad. I was on the phone with my wife. Let's just fucking finish this game. I'm on the bottom. Holy shit.
I'm here with you, man. I'm here with you.
I can tell you, brothers. Gotta say that in team chat. The weirdest thing is I can't talk shit. I don't feel confident talking shit unless I like have someone playing with me. So like if I have a friend, like say for example if I'm playing with Haru, I don't mind talking shit. But like to the team if they like talking shit back. But when I'm by myself, all of that confidence goes away. It's like they let one round determine your entire game. Or like how you're playing the entire game. And it's like, bro, it was just one round. I was fucking overwhelmed, you were overwhelmed. What do you expect me to do? Run with my...
Dispatched. Spike down. C. Cage trigger. One enemy remaining.
Is this entire thing
Nice,
swell?
nice.
Spike
Oh,
planted.
shit. Damn.
Nice.
Fuck up. Don't say it. Fuck you. I don't even want to hear them.
Someone defuse.
I think Sage can defuse. Oh shit. Christian Mike, sorry, I was too busy muting you guys. If Breach messes up, then you gotta say W aim. B, our goal is to beat the Breach. And then afterwards, say thank you guys for the support. Wow, top fragging. Clutch, yes sir. That's all the validation I need.
That goes there.
Instead of from random men on the internet. And I'm lagging too. You can't tell me jack shit, bro. Oh shit, I'm gonna do that. Or well.
Face your fear!
No, thank you.
Who's next?
Ultimate is ready. Where is everyone hiding?
Spike planted.
No more charge. My camera is destroyed.
Someone back there. Oh shit, I'm fucked.
One enemy remaining.
Spike the fuel.
Well, that's fun.
They will scurry, and then they will die.
Thank you. Suck my dick.
Saving.
This music's cute. I kind of like this music.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
I feel like it's gonna hurt more when they realize I'm a female, because someone is just like, he's not shooting or whatever. And it's like, guess what? And we'll say that in chat. Suck my dick. Of course, I'll say it. I'll say it afterwards. Or whenever it's needed. I want to get my camera back, actually.
Spike down B. You're done.
Nope.
Enemy spot.
Healer killed. Cage trigger.
I heard the spike being planted.
One enemy remaining.
Is this spike being planted? Oh, let's see.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
Makes sense. Topic? Kind of. As long as I don't overtilt and try to, you know,
My ultimate is ready.
stay within line, then I think I could keep this.
What will it be this time? Have any patterns emerged yet?
It's hard because I'm playing on a site that I'm not comfortable with. I normally play it on C or B, but it seems like they're always going to those sites.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
So it's like weird, you know? This music feels like music they play in like a coffee shop.
Barrier placed. Reloading.
Here.
You reckon they rotate? Since Sage walled it off. Yeah.
Here.
Spike planted.
Slammer.
Still in sight.
Okay. Oh shit. Oh well.
My ultimate is ready.
That's all I need. Yeah, I feel that too.
Match point.
But you too good, so you gotta pick up the team Slack. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. So, I mean, as a Sentinel too, maybe use our ult to secure the win. Maybe shut up.
This goes here.
I feel like once people start being mean, it's like it ruins.
Yes, this should do.
It ruins the entire like game. She's tough, right? Yes, sir. Maybe it's the game. Maybe it's the music. Oh shit. Oh shit. It's all May.
Cage triggered.
And Sage is all the way freaking Timbuktu.
Spike down. C.
Damn. GG.
Defenders win.
Thank you guys for the support. Oh fuck. Debbie kills Breach. You should have said that earlier. They say JK, you stink. I don't think I could say that. B, when did you send that? Did you send that before? I was too focused on the round. Apologies. Do we play another game? This music's making me sleepy. We play New Jeans. Another one? Okay. We'll play one more. I gave you your points back, B. I wasn't able to say it. What was the game's elo? Good question. Could be all irons, and then the one bronze, unranked, iron 3, both iron 3. I think the only reason Omen was above me was because he got more assists. That just means I completed more of my kills. You know. Back to Cypher! Oh yeah, okay, your points. Channel modes, tasks, requests. Oh, make me say something. New jeans. I wish we were able to like do things while you're in this screen. 3 duelists. 3 duelists. Should I dodge?
Lugan.
Yes. Look, they said this. They called me a hag. Oh my gosh. Should I alt F4? B, say something. Should I alt F4? Maybe this will be good. 4 duelists, maybe this will be fun. Was it defense? If this game is fun and easy or very hard, I want it to be fun and easy. On defense, it's gonna what is the word called? They're gonna get like 15, 12, or 13. 3 duelists, 2 sentinel? No, this is on the other team? What is up with the duelists? You don't need... Why does everyone want to be duelist? Okay, on defender's side, the side where we have Spike, we're immediately on the site. Wait, KG went to Jet. Yeah, last second they did. That's why I was really wanting to alt F4, or like seeing if we should alt F4. Super shy. Make you mad. So on the, yeah, if we can 12-0 being on, but the other team has 3 duelists, a sentinel, and an initiator. The site where we have Spike, and we're just immediately onto site, then we can do it. You gotta plant it? Is Kiana plant? Yeah, I feel like I have to be the one who plants. But it's like the Mr. President type thing. Cause like all the duelists are gonna try to protect the sentinel or the one with the spike.
My sister from another mister.
Not even a canon event. Play? Oh, we have to play it? Maybe. What do you think this is gonna be? You think we're gonna win? B, did you watch the Spider-Man movie? Is that what you're saying? It's a canon event? Yes, this should do. Okay.
I'm crazy!
Alright.
Guys, quiet. Try to concentrate.
Here. Caught one. Cage trigger.
70 neon.
I'm scared. Guys, help me, please. Guys, hurry up. Can we please?
My camera is destroyed.
Thank you, Jet. You're so kind.
Spike planted.
Enemy spotted.
No, I gotta watch it. You have to. I don't know, isn't it a meme to say it's a canon event? Yeah.
One enemy remaining.
But especially if like you've seen the Spider-Man movie, because
Yours
it all
better.
revolves around canon events and stuff like that. So it is. Okay, GG, I think you guys lost because that dude's screaming. No, I think we. I don't think.
Jet
I think
has
we.
like the space of 2 eyes between her eyes.
I think we won. Mainly because, you know why? Because they're just going straight for it. They don't take breaks.
You right.
Or you win because of you. Oh.
Why the fuck? Oh my god, dude! Look at me fit like 4 eyes on your head.
We win because I ground the entire team. The rest
No
is
one are
just...
you only one able to fit 1 eye
Buddy,
between your eyes.
he's getting reported. My daddy owns this game. My daddy
I'm
owns
sorry,
this game.
Big
You're getting
Poppy.
reported.
My daddy's dead.
So, I don't even think turning them down is gonna do much.
Yeah, they're in the sewers, guys. They're in the sewers.
They're like all up here. I'm done here. I'm keeping them grounded.
Spike planted.
Enemy spotted. A. Feeling sight.
Oh, B, you're a technology person. What is your opinion on a 3060 Ti? The fuck? Oh shit. I was so confident I was gonna get him.
One enemy remaining.
Because I want a new graphics card so I can start playing more Valorant on streams and it not lag. You could still hear him at 0. Okay, 1.
My mom owns this game.
The Neon missed the first shot. On the Bucky?
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, please no.
But like it didn't process.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm playing Fortnite.
3060 is pretty good. Okay. Cause that's what I want to get. Cause it's like affordable and I'm fucking
Yeah,
broke.
man. No!
But
This is a nice spot.
god damn. But a 1650 is kind of not cutting it anymore.
Here.
Guys, I'm scared. Guys, I'm scared. Guys, I'm scared.
Here.
I'm trying something. I didn't try it in public or private, and I wanted to try it here.
Spike
Camera
planted.
taken out.
Dixie chamber?
Cage triggered.
Reloading.
She's on the floor.
Last player standing.
I wonder what. Oh, damn. We'll say NT.
They don't have a single life.
Can I get a drop?
Oh, it would be a huge. Yeah, honestly, anything at this point is gonna be a huge jump. That's what I'm also scared, because it's gonna be like, it's gonna go from like hella slow and laggy to like, oh my gosh, I can see fucking everything.
This goes here.
I can stream without, you know.
Yes, this should do.
It should be exciting. I can't wait for it because then I'm gonna play Valorant and I'm gonna go from like iron to fucking gold. Oh shit. Can you hit Radiant? I don't know about Radiant. I don't know about Radiant, but like maybe Ascendant.
Last player standing.
Your PC is holding you back. You think it's that? It's not my aim. Oh shit.
My ult's ready. One enemy remaining.
You reckon it's the PC?
Don't rush me.
Oh no. We're gonna give them another chance. If they scream again, they're getting muted for the rest of the game. This AP baby.
That goes there.
Nah, for sure PC. If I get it, B, and I fucking play, and I'm still like bronze, I'm gonna be like, hey sir, I think you've been like lying to me.
I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
Here.
I used freecash.com.
Just for a minute. Although I'm pretty sure your PC's actually not that bad, but blame the PC. Yeah, no, it's the PC's fault. Cause bro, look at this, look at like my flicks. Look, do you see?
Like 10 cents.
Bro, it's the PC. It's the honestly the fucking PC. At this point. And my teammates. It's the PC and my teammates.
One enemy remaining.
Then you gotta look at the 4090. Is the 4090 even worth it? I don't know cause like a 40, I can barely see the difference between a 3060 and a 3070. That's why I'm like okay settling for the 3060. Or not 3090, like 3070. Okay. Although 4090 is not worth it, it's like $200,000. But it's like the 4090.
What do you think of my singing?
Like,
This goes here.
how much better graphics are you really gonna get with a 4090? You know what I mean? Like, how many people's eyes can detect a complete difference between them?
Why'd you run? They're fucking mid and you ran.
A 3060 will prevent me from like, you see?
You have the most snappy, like, aim in the world.
Who's he talking to? A 3060 will prevent me from lagging when things get overwhelming.
One enemy remaining. Spike planted.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Look on your map.
You should sing with them? No thank you. No thank you. People scare me.
We know more than we did.
Can I get a drop?
Let's use that.
Can I get a drop?
Donald Duck. The 4090 is only good if you buy multiple of them because they're only. If you buy multiple?
This is a nice spot.
Like 2 or 3?
That goes there.
And GPU is good for video editing, not necessarily for games.
Play.
Is this games for like, isn't it like RAM or something like that? We can like run more things at the same time. I would think GPU helps with video processing.
Down, C.
The hunt begins.
One enemy remaining.
I love the Vandal skin. The
Yeah.
bubbles. I'm not really paying attention to the kills. I just like the shooting sound.
Go go go.
I just like the shooting sound. I might clip it for those.
Shita.
30 seconds left.
That's pretty good.
Which one's this one? That's the regular one.
Reloading.
Blink and they'll catch up. Stay alert.
Catch your baby. Only you. I wanna like get a new GPU, get more RAM sticks, and then the AIO cooler.
Whatever it's called, I don't remember.
Not the water cooler. Water coolers scare me.
This goes here.
No, the old one.
This is a nice spot.
No.
Okay.
Oh, not Save the World. I think it starts with an S.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, bro, I
Down,
couldn't
C. Flawless.
Oh, you actually just saw my. You guys just saw my.
Are you getting a new PC? No, just like upgrading some parts.
It was like a
Like I wanna upgrade my GPU,
Oh,
my fans, because I use like the stock fan that comes with the what's that little guy called? The processor. And like some other single fans. So I wanna get a stronger fan system. And then like some more RAM sticks. And then these like next things are more for like cosmetic stuff.
that is out of util.
Like adding
I'm got one.
I've got your trail.
oh shit. Like adding like white connector cords and stuff like that. So those are for more cosmetic stuff. But not like the entire PC, you know? Because my PC is still fairly new.
Anyone else?
I'd say it's coming on in October. It'll be like 2 years old.
Player standing.
So I mean, it's still in pretty good condition. The Phoenix, I feel like the Phoenix turned on aimbot.
One of my cameras is broken.
Do you have little toy figures? I do.
Okay.
I change around the figures depending on how I feel. I have these two, like these little character figures from Miniso. So sometimes I have those in. I also have a Funko Pop. So then I put the smaller figure on top of my GPU. I don't know if that's good or not, but I mean it's not heavy. So I put it on top of the GPU, and then
Like, why is this getting ego swinging?
the Funko Pops in the bottom part, like on the bottom. Oh, and that's actually there.
One enemy remaining. Spike down, C.
Spike is C.
ASA.
Rest well.
Do you have any figures in your PCB? PCB. Isn't PCB stand for something? Holy guacamole. Holy pepperonis. I feel sick.
Yes, this should do. Oh, this is a nice spot. That goes there.
I think I might end after this one because my thing is like fucking hurting. I can barely function. Yo, this is moving.
Cage triggered.
Last player standing.
Oh shit.
Last round in the half.
This is competitive, right?
Yes, this should do. This goes here. That goes there.
Bro, Reina, what the fuck are you doing? Eye! Your eye!
Spike down, C.
Oh shit. A 3060 would have killed that quicker. I hit the sky?
Stop throwing them down.
Singing karaoke? Your voice sounds so good for singing. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't sing. I sound like Batman when I sing. Want to stay in the middle. See? I don't know what you're talking about, B. Karaoke stream? I need like 200,000 channel points. Actually no, 500,000 channel points. Cause I know somehow y'all be showing up with 200,000. I don't know, 3060 would have killed there. CB, you understand me. A 3060 would have definitely killed there. But guess what we don't have? 30 with 2,000 things off.
Last player standing.
I think you should sing more. Aw, thank you. Singing just makes me nervous. If I like cautiously do it, then I get nervous. 500,000? Mm-hmm. Because you have to work for it. Because singing, I get self-conscious when I sing. So it has to be something that you guys truly work for it. And if you actually get it, that means you genuinely want to see it. And you're not just doing it to make me make a fool of myself. This looks so cool together. Look at this. I need to take a screenshot of this. Reina! You need to move out of the way.
Yes, this should do.
How about like 20,000? B, you have 20,000 right now. I have a feeling you have 20,000, so that's the only reason you're saying how about 20,000. What if I genuinely want to see it but I'm broken chicken nuggets? Then you gotta save up your nuggets or get other people to contribute to your cause. Oh, what the fuck? This dude has aimbot. And then if you get other people to donate some chicken nuggets to you, then maybe, I mean, you can get there.
Okay, I only have like 78 grenades.
I have faith and belief that you can do it, B. Just ask around, start a petition. Can I? You see that? Bro, I can't play this game anymore.
This goes here.
I'm gonna hit this. Please hit it. I need out.
On the right. Just rush. Don't rush in here. Her walls is left. Right there.
What's the neon over here?
Cage triggered.
Oh, flank.
Reload. Careful now. Here. Planted the spike.
78 right now.
Cage triggered.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
1, 2, 3, 4, baby. Baby. Oh, they're down there. Fun! I got me a Marshall too.
Reloading.
The dimensional fabric here is thin.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
I'm about to go crazy. You got this. I flawless. Oh shit.
Spike down. C.
And with the marshal, not with the marshal, with the sheriff. Oh shit.
Spike down. C. Last player standing.
You know what would have won that? A 3060. Bro, my PC is acting up right now. I'm just trying to make it through this game.
It's just good crime scene etiquette.
Maybe 60 is the answer. Bro, I don't hate the player. It's don't hit the player, hit the game. I agree. B, I'm gone. Once the stream's over, I'm looking at 3060s. Miss Reina? Oh, Miss Reina.
Last player standing.
Miss Reina.
Spike down mid.
Alright,
I was about to say,
spilled some soda and it didn't
at least I'm not bottom fragging, and then I open the thing and I'm just like, oh, well, I guess. Yeah. And the cool mic set up for karaoke. What type of mic would we get? Oh my gosh, you know. Okay. B, this is gonna be between me and you, just for thinking out loud. What if I did a karaoke stream for my birthday? And you know those cute little mics that they sell when they do like K-pop karaoke and stuff like that? What if I get me one of those?
Where is
Everyone go B. Everyone go B. I'm planting. Everyone go B. Everyone go B. Everyone go B. Everyone go B.
Yes, we're going B. Come down. I'm gonna watch from back here.
What the fuck? How did that not hit him? Neon coming in. Oh, Neon coming in. He's holding it. They're at half. They're at half.
One enemy remaining.
Oh shit.
Last player standing.
I was flush. Oh, nice.
Looks like I was the stronger one.
Do it? Although my answer is this is surprising. But it's not surprising me, but it's the thing that like it's gonna be like a secret stream that not many people know of. So like you're gonna know about it. But it's the fact that like you guys don't know when my birthday is. So I can stream on my birthday and you're not even gonna know. Cause I'm not gonna be like, birthday karaoke stream. It's not gonna be titled that, so you're not gonna know. I'm gonna look up karaoke mics.
Enemy spotted C.
Like good. But then we have to make a song set list. B, give me some songs to sing.
Reloading. Enemy spotted C.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Enemy spotted.
They found my wire. Cage triggered.
There's gonna be another. There's gonna be another. Nope.
Spike down. C.
Oh, there is another one. I knew it. Oh. This race keeps missing. Wait, didn't you say it's in like it is in September?
Last player standing.
Oh no. It's a day I'm not gonna tell you.
Let's try on the
OMG, Buddy Cupid Queen Card 7. 7? By Jungkook? I have no money. Shoot their heads? Bro, I can't even shoot. On God? I'd be trying. Reina?
Enemy spotted C.
September 19th? No. You're a bit far off. You get 3 guesses.
Spike down. C. Enemy spotted C. Reloading. Reloading. Still in sight. Still in sight. Reloading. Enemy spotted.
Oh! I should have walked. 8th? No. They have an op too? Did they get the op from the Rays?
We got this.
I can full shields, but I'm gonna have no money. Should I full shield and then Spectre though? I'll try Spectre. 26? No! You're a bit too far with the 26. It's in the beginning half though. But your 3 guesses are up.
Enemy spotted A.
If you can get it in this last one, then I'll accept that one. But then if you don't, all your guesses are up. Yo, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I can't support you on this one. He's 122! The race disconnected. Honestly, this game was an understandable game.
Their lives are so meaningless. Might as well give them to me.
I can bulldog. We lost the top. Oh no, they're not top fighting. Okay. I got another kill. I'ma put your shit in the cardboard box.
Yes, this should do.
You want to play? Let's play. Time to jump.
Not really. Six? No.
down, C.
Oh, Raze is back. It's close. If you know Jungkook's birthday, mine's as close to his birthday.
Last player standing.
Do I have this? Oh, nice try. I have a headache again.
They try the same old tricks.
Oh, what do you say?
Reverse smurfing, by the way.
What did he say?
I've known that this whole game.
Yeah, that or is cheating.
Definitely not.
What do you mean?
Riva Enjoyer? I feel like Riva enjoys cheating.
Well, first of all, Jet was sitting in the corner and he walked right past her, and also he walked right past me.
His accent came out.
Oh yeah, but he's struggling too the whole game. Yeah.
A second? No! That's Namjoon's birthday! It's not Jungkook's birthday.
Time to jump. I'll fake teleport. Enemy spotted.
I'm not gonna front. I'm not even gonna peek that. I'm be honest with you.
Really?
Where is everyone hiding?
You should rotate.
Our spike carrier is killed.
Spike down, C.
It's another New Jeans playlist. Why do we like New Jeans so much? Reloading. We want some twice. Give us some twice.
Last player standing.
so bad.
30 seconds left.
I felt that.
Hey.
Reaver Enjoyer, he's a smurf.
Match point.
Energetic playlist to clean K-pop playlist. Oh, Chuck's birthday is the first. Oh, then is it Namjoon's birthday? I swear Namjoon's birthday was first. Is Jungkook's birthday the second? Whose birthday is the 12th?
Stay safe.
Maybe I should play CSGO. Will I get shit talked if I play CSGO though?
Neon flank, neon flank.
Here.
Neon
That's what I'm
flank.
trying to do.
Here. Spike.
Oh shit. I'm a queen cat. I don't know. Iron's birthday's the. Oh, okay. My birthday's closer to Iron's birthday then. I don't know if you get trash talk in CS. Do you? I don't know. I feel like you would. Because if you get trash talk in Valorant, of course you're bound to get trash talked in. Of course you're gonna get trash talked in
I'm begging you, Cypher. I will kiss you.
I'm sorry.
My thanks.
Thank you.
Please, Cypher.
I'll try. I'll try.
Kiss you, don't worry. You win. You get a kill.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad.
Cage trigger.
There we go. There we go. There, I hit her full.
Careful now.
Oopsie.
Yeah.
Cage trigger.
Oh my.
Go, come on. Rainer 40.
One
Let's go, Rainer 40. Yeah,
begins.
5, 6 minutes.
Yeah, dude, you all freaking out. Y'all need to calm down.
One enemy remaining.
Go, come on.
Up top.
You left.
Last player standing. Spike down.
West side, west side, west side, west side.
No!
Defenders win.
How is this never mind.
Shut up, please. Thank you. Bye. Huh? You're hacking. The first one, maybe. I didn't understand how the first one worked. I'm like, goodbye, Evie. The first kill on Nia was crazy, right? I've been surprised by fucking self. I don't think my computer can handle any more Valorant. Nah, my computer's overheating. I want to see the first kill on the Neon again. Hold on. We're gonna. Okay, wait. Let me show you this game first before I forget. Career. Was it this one? This one. The silver. Or these are all bronze. And like last act, this chamber was silver. This dude was gold. I think another person on our team was silver. And then there was another silver on the other team. And I'm just like, I'm kind of holding my ground, low-key. Okay, we're gonna re-look at that kill on the Neon. Actually, we're gonna go back here, and then I'm gonna do this. They were like exciting, hyping me up as I got the kills. As soon as I missed the kills, they're just like, your shit. And I was like, pick a side. Pick one. You're gold without the logo. I'm immortal without the immortal. I wasn't expecting that one to happen. You can see the lag in my screen. Oh my gosh, it's so shit. Hacks? I couldn't tell you. But I mean, it happened. It's cause, you know why it looks like I was hacking? It's cause of the lag. The lag is the reason it looks like I'm hacking. Mama, be straight up. I can download that. I did not download that. But yeah. That's enough Valorant for me for today. Enough shit talking people. I wanna play it again. Is it bad that I wanna go back in and play more? I'm gonna go look at Borderlands 2. Yeah. Should I do a Borderlands 2 stream? B, we need to play Borderlands 2. I remember we were playing it. One more? No, I can't play one more on stream. I can play one more like off stream, but not on stream. The lag is too bad. I remember we started playing Borderlands B and then we like stopped. We should play Borderlands again. When I get the 3060, we can play Valorant for longer. Trust. But I think my Valorant's mad at me. Not my Valorant. My computer. M8 math? Is that useful after math? Yeah, we got it. Yes, sir. Video leaks in talk, right? In the talk. Video leaks? Over here? Oh, YouTube? Some of them. I'm surprised you just noticed them. They've been there for a while. It's just, what's it called? I don't know what to edit them on my PC, so I have to transfer them to my iPad. and then edit them from there. But I should start uploading on YouTube more because I have a lot of edited videos that I haven't uploaded stored away. So maybe, who knows? There's some Star Rail playthroughs. This was like a almost ace I got one time. Oh yeah. Well, you can't even see it.
Oh, you bitch.
But I swore a lot in this one, so I only showed like a friend.
Oh, you bitch.
Swearing helps me get through this game.
Por favor.
I feel like the last shot I could have gotten it if I waited. What program do you use? Floating gun? Yeah, because I got killed up there. I don't know if this was comp. Oh, I needed the spike. That's why I was going.
No.
Yeah, he shot me right as I jumped. It's an app called VLLO. Is it Vlo? It's on my it's on Apple. I wanna though, like, if anything, I know I've tried, you know, what's it called, Final Cut? But Final Cut's fucking expensive. But that's only on MacBooks. Maybe one day I'll get like a MacBook and I could start editing. Or if there's any like program I could find on PC, then that'll be fun. Then I could start editing on my PC. But yeah, that was my almost ace. Those are a bunch of videos that I'll one day upload for you guys. If you have any recommendations, let me know so then I can get you guys more YouTube videos. But that's probably gonna be it for today. Next stream will be on Wednesday, and then on Friday I can stream a certain consecutive time this week because I work on Thursday. So then Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday, and then who knows? Maybe a cute little stream on like Saturday or whatnot. But we'll see. As for the game we're playing, Da Vinci, it's free. I'll check that out. I heard the name before. The name sounds really familiar. But yeah, I'll get back to you if I end up uploading more videos. Then you know that it had worked. As for game, I don't know. Maybe I'll play Melatonin again. Or what's the other game? Unpacking. I still have yet to continue through Unpacking. I don't even know where it is. It's somewhere on my PC. Came back just in time for this stream, right? I was just about to head out, Kazu. You came back just in time for me to head out. Oh no. How are you? Were you able to clean up your desk? No. Yeah, cause I was gonna play more Valorant, but my fucking thing is lagging. ASAP. If you want to chat, maybe I can do my dailies in Star Rail and then we could chat some more. We'll do that. You know what? Oh, the misery. No, it's okay. We'll do my dailies. And then once I finish my dailies, karaoke for like 30 minutes. Fess up 20,000 points right now, and we'll do some form of karaoke. Between however many people's here, I'll make a community thing, and if you can fess up that many points, while I'm doing my dailies, we can do some songs. 20,000. 20,000, yes. Easy? Okay, so then I'll make it 50,000. How do I redeem? I'll do make a thing. What is the scam? DALIE. Yeah, I'm just. It's a community channel. I'm just gonna change the game, meaning everyone has to contribute. Sir. You guys pick a number between 1 and 10. Seven? Okay, 70,000 points. I'm just kidding. Community 1. No, okay. I would say pick a number between 1 and 7, but then you already know, so then you're gonna pick something like 2 or something. Where's the viewer rewards? Channel points. Manage. Create community challenge. We're gonna roll a dice. Ready? Pick a number. Oh shit. Okay, here, hold on. No, that's the wrong thing. 50k is good. 50k? I feel like because the number generated was like 5. I can show you guys. Oh yeah, you see it. Silly me. You guys low-key have 50k, don't you? Make it last a month. A month? Cause Kazu, okay, here Kazu, I'm gonna let you in on the secret I was telling B. So instead of like doing like a community channel for like karaoke or community channels for like karaoke, I think it can only contribute 2k per stream. Oh, that makes sense. Because my birthday is not coming up next month, but like the month after. I was thinking of doing a karaoke stream for my birthday, but it's like not gonna be a karaoke stream where like it's explicit, like I'm gonna say birthday karaoke stream whatever September 13th. No, it's just gonna be a stream, and if you're there then I guess you know it's the karaoke stream, but then if you're like not there, like you're not gonna know, so it's like only for people who know. And I was thinking of doing that and then getting like a cute little mic. And then maybe I can do like turn on the camera so you guys can see the microphone. But there are little ways where you can see like my birthday. I haven't completely like hidden it. An archive stream, okay. Yeah. So it's like for those who know, for those who don't know. Instead of like doing a community challenge, so it's like since I know you guys can get all of those points. I want to make flurry, cause like I believe you guys can get 50k, 1000k, whatever it is. Be there, be square. Yeah, it's like one of those. But my birthday is in September, so I'll give you guys that. Where are the songs you said, B? We can play them. I'm like scrolling up. I took a screenshot of them. Let me just go here. No, I didn't take a screenshot of him. I'm so silly. Just before. Oh, here. OMG, we played OMG. Oh, butter. You want butter? Smooth like butter. Butter, PT. You know what I hope, Kazu? I hope we can get played like right now. Or deadass, I'm about to start thinking. I'm gonna turn into Kieran. Oh, does it show here? Damn. We can, okay, then we can also do the thing. Okay, makes sense. I forgot how good this music video is. Break it down. Stop, I love this song. He has purple hair. I miss Jungkook's purple hair. Get it, let it roll. What if you make a channel on the Discord where you send songs that you may want to cover? That's smart, Kazu. That is smart. And then we'll just create a list and we'll use that for the entire stream. But it can't be some crazy ass songs where it's like in a foreign language and I may not know what it means. But then I could sit down and search up the songs. Okay. That would be smart. Dude, see your guys' like dance and carry. Okay, you're doing too much. That's a bit too far, B. B, that's... Yeah, of course. You gotta review them first. Yeah. Because then, like, imagine this song that just talks about, like, fucking boobs and shaking ass and all that. That wouldn't be very PG-13. You're such a nice guy. Got the right body, the right vibe. Got the right vibes for that. Put a haters. I don't think I could dance as well as you can be. I remember when you did that little dance thingy. I was like, pop off, bestie. Oh, I built my blade. If you hell yeah, I'll give him a little gander when we do our thingies, Kazu. Yusila! Oh no! Sweet, cooler butter. It's the end of an era. You said Cupid? I give a second just to Cupid. You know, for the longest time, I thought the song was called 50-50. I'm gonna change my support tip. That's smart. Are Sela and Blade gonna be your two supports, Kazu? Take on my life. Oh, which one does? Okay, what? We'll try this one. I have Welt. You have Welt too, bro. I want Welt too. Welt's like father material. Yeah, the second just to keep. Oh, it makes me. You, it is. Oh, look at you. Start challenge. The characters I want: Blade, Welt. Welt because it's Welt. Blade because I have the sound turned off.
It's pitiless. Show no mercy.
If it reaches to the point where I'm able to like choose my character, I'm gonna when you make wishes, I'm either gonna choose between Clara or Welt. Who do you think I should choose, Kazu? I don't think B's gonna understand. B, if you had to choose, would you choose a child with a robot or someone with glasses and a cane? But like not in like the old glasses with a cane, with a you'll clean his shoes type of glasses with a cane.
Savor it for me.
This seems so loud. But then I'd have to connect, like if you get a separate microphone to like the PC so you guys can hear me from the microphone and not from like my actual mic. And basically the second one, a man with a cane and glasses. People would clean your shoes. Hey Grandpa. I don't know about what you're up to. Music? You vibing, Kazu? Which song? KB, when you said 7, was it 7 by Jungkook? I don't know the lyrics to this, so we're gonna go off of sheer will. Use technique 2 times. Alright. I don't know if I said it. Honestly, I feel like Kazu can have a high chance of knowing when my birthday is based off of like games, but I don't know, Kazu, if we're friends on Genshin. Cause if you play on Genshin, Genshin has my birthday, so you can figure it out if you know my Genshin account. 7 stuck in my queen card. 7 stuck in my head right now. Damn! You're a JK stan? We're taking the right way. What? I didn't. Damn. B, do you listen to the explicit version or the PG-13? I feel like you listen to the PG-13 version. We collected our gems, right? Okay. Do we have to do the... I don't want to do this. We're gonna do this instead. Not that. This. I don't think I do. I don't play Genshin anymore. RIP Genshin. Because I'm hungry. RIP Genshin. Once you stop Genshin, you don't go back Genshin. I feel like it's just so hard to get back into Genshin. That's the thing. But I don't think I have my birthday set onto this. So it's more of a guessing test. Emma, August, baby. August, what day? Your birthday's coming up. Feels bad, man. My dad for real lost no. Oh, damn. Honestly, your dad's doing your elo. Honestly, Kazu, my parents started off the New Year's with a bang, so I mean, I guess we're both special babies. keep investigating. Peasant halter. With the help of the center, I'm certain the answers lies in that thing machine. It's doing. I can't sing this song, B. I can't. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The 21st? I'll remember it. I'm gonna put it in a calendar. I'm not here on the 21st though. I was gonna say I'll stream on that day, but I'm going on a trip. I'll still say happy birthday. Oh, why y'all scared? God damn. I'm more of a J-pop enjoyer. What's your favorite J-pop song, Kazu? Or band? It's like a Polaroid. I'm on the no. That's all I need. That's all I needed. Twice. B, tell Twice. Tell JYP to send Twice on another concert. They need to come back right now. Like AS yesterday. Fuji K's. We stand Fuji K's in this household. I'm gonna tell you, if Fuji K's was a person, I'd marry Fuji K's. I'd do anything for Fuji K's. Kenshi? Kenji Yoenzu? Is it the full name? On Jesus Sandals. On jaw, bro. On everything alive in this world that's in my mama's grave. I'd do anything for Fuji K's. Whoever created Fuji K's, I want to thank them. Complete the current and all of me. But I did. Oh, we have to talk to him again? Fuji Case. What is love? I wanna know. I wanna know. What is love? Skull emoji? What, Kazu? Skull emoji, why? What are you trying to say? I may not know anything he's saying, but that doesn't matter. That's far. You know what I want to do before I forget? This. 14 hours? You gotta be kidding me. Well, guess I can't do that anymore. Kaze is Kaze. Fuji Kaze? Fuji Alright, new monsoon. Yeah. I know it's Fuji Kaze, but like my sister listens to Fuji K so much. And it's funny because every time, because I put some of his like more popular songs in her playlist, and then she started listening to him, and every time like he pops up in her playlist, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you listen to Fuji K's? That it became the way I pronounced his name. Oh. I promise I'm not disrespecting Fujikaze. On my mama, I will never do something like that. I'm just westernizing his name. Thank you, Flakeway. I hope it's Flakeway. See, now you got me self-conscious about pronouncing names, Kazu. But thank you for following. Well, to the clinic. My name is Kozume. You can call me Kozu. If you'd like to just lurk, that's alright. But if you want to talk in chat, feel free to. We always love chatting with people. Look. Hi. Hi, hi. The back alley. I ain't even gonna front. I kind of. Oh, shit. Huh? Any whoosies? Can we go through there? Oh, we can't. Where were we looking? Oh, this? See, I knew it was this from the beginning. We need a daily Fujikaze song. Like every time you just type, you do exclamation mark Fujikaze, and then boom. For real. And then it like plays a random song of his. Or like a random generator and be like, okay, what's the song for today? And then we play that song. You know what I really like? I like this performance. I'm gonna play it for you guys. But it was like one of his live performances. I'm a sucker for live performances. Take a song, make it a live performance, and I'm fucking down bad. Are all of them out? I hope all of them are out. Cause what's your favorite song by him? I'm tired. Hello, Tired. It's nice to meet you. Hello, Governor. Fancy a cup of coffee? Oh, the second one's available? This is the third one. Extra charge? Sir, I better be getting extra primo gems for this. You're level 6, goddamn. Life performances are so hard to do. Mad perspective. Yeah, that's true. It's like the... Oh shit. It's like the singing live, plus like everyone watching you. And then you have... Like say if you're dancing or something like that, you have to sing while dancing or moving around. And then sometimes you don't have like... If you sing live, you don't have like the backing or whatever to support you. And then memorizing all the songs. Did you add this? He really did. Any performance, he ate. Was 4 plus 4? 8. Bro even played the piano. Bro played the piano. He's like vibing. He's creating energy. He's like okay, you wanted this from the song? I'm gonna double it. He's like, you know, I had to double it. Does she ever ult? No. You heal? That's not very respectful of you. What? Okay, there we go. Can it actually not get? Look at the draw. It's so funny how her ult is like a bitch slap. It's just you wanted to fight? Alright, have this. Slams it on there. Did I not change the game to? Did change it? I don't know. I think keep saying thingy. Oh, there's only 4 levels. 5th time. Ah, I see. There we go. Okay. We're gonna see first this. Get Jim Roger bread soda from trash can? What? This game has some random achievements for you to get. Like, what's Roger's gym bread soda? View details. Should I just save up for temple? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 45. We're at 45. No, 46. You think we can get an early 5-star? What about 5-star Dunhang? When is 5-star Dunhang coming out, Kazu? Because if 5-star Dunhang is coming out like after Kafka, I'm gonna jump off a cliff. I don't know. Okay. So like, honestly, it's still a while. That's good. Because I just kind of wanted Blade for now. The only other character is like, you know that other dude, the red-haired one? I think his name was like Luca or something. He was like the only other character I may have been interested in. He's after 2 more 5-stars. Okay, that's fine. Then we have a possibility of saving up. He was kind of like the only other 5-star I was really interested in. And then the rest would have been like as they come type of energy. Because now that I finished like the main story, I kind of really don't want to play the game anymore. Because like there's nothing like besides side quests to do. So like after Blade, after Blade, I'm kind of just probably gonna start saving up for Dunhang. Cause 5-star Dunhang is sweet. So then we can do 1, 2, 3. We can do 4 to make it 56. Wasn't it? That's 56, right? I miscounted. Okay, we're gonna go back to the beginning. We're gonna count again. Because like it feels better to do polls on like complete numbers. You're at 46. Oh wait, you should do a temple tomorrow since shop reset. Yeah. Cause it's at 46. Don't be at 50. Okay, maybe we can do that. And then exchange Stella Jades. We only have 2. That would be 7. I need 3 more. I'm gonna do the what's it called? What's the thing called? Simulated universe. I'm gonna do that off stream, and then maybe some of the. Kaza, did you finish the Forgotten Hall? I completely forgot about the Forgotten Hall. Okay, yeah. And then maybe, who knows, by like next stream, I'll have played. But like, I'm kind of really hungry. I cleared the first one. There's more than one Forgotten Hall. Is it like the Abyss that when you complete a certain amount of levels, it goes into like the next one? Yeah, there's 3. You're lying. Oh my goodness gracious. Bro, I can't even clear the first one. Damn. It is really like the Abyss. Thank you for stream. I enjoyed my day. Thank you for stopping by, Kazu. It was lovely chatting with you. Thanks for coming back after you to do things. I hope your desk cleaning went well. Yeah, you guys already heard most of it. Next year's gonna be on Wednesday. As for games, game is up for grabs. I'm not too sure. We'll see when we you know. But yes, thank you guys for stopping by and for accompanying me these past couple hours. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever time it is. Make sure to eat, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on Wednesday, hopefully. Bye bye.